President, I would like to take a few minutes this morning to speak about how the Affordable Care Act is harming the people of the state of Alaska. I come to the floor a lot to talk about how we're the biggest, we have the most. Well, once again, we're the biggest. We have the highest insurance premiums in the country, in the state of Alaska. And believe me, I'm hearing from folks back home all the time about the burden that these costs place on them. Our state's largest newspaper has been reporting, as we have seen these premium increases coming out over these past several months, they've been detailing the incredible rise of premiums throughout the state. The average monthly premium for a single 40-year-old in the state of Alaska is now over $700. $700 a month is going to the average single 40-year-old, more than double the national average. People are paying thousands of dollars each month to insure their families. Costs have gone up. The insurance premium costs have gone up somewhere between 25% to 40% each year. How do you budget for that, Madam President? A family of 3 in Ketchikan, we got the information from them. They're going to be paying almost $2,000 a month next year for one of the cheapest bronze plans available. This is a family of 3. This is one of the cheapest plans, and they're going to be paying $2,000 a month. And this plan comes with a $10,500 deductible. Heck of a deal. So despite paying almost $24,000 for insurance, nearly all of the medical bills will still be paid out of pocket by this family. They're not going to see any benefit until they have spent just about $35,000. Now you contrast that $2,000 per month for health insurance with their mortgage payment, their monthly mortgage payment of $1,250. Does this seem right to anyone? It should not cost more to provide health care coverage for your family than to own your home. We've got a married couple in Wasilla. They were paying about $850 per month prior to the ACA, but that plan wasn't acceptable under the new regulations, the promise that you can keep your plan if you like it. Well, that didn't hold. They had to find another insurance. Next year, this married couple is going to be paying over $2,300 per month. That means they're going to be paying over $17,000 more per year for the same coverage. This is a 268% increase in just one calendar year. Madam President, this is not right. This is not conscionable. It's not like this married couple has somehow or other increased their income by an additional $17,000 last year. No, this is just the cost to cover their insurance. We've got a self-employed man down in Homer whose insurance covers himself, his wife, his son. He's seen his costs increase from about $325 per month 2 years ago to $1,325 per month since the ACA was passed. That's an additional $1,000 per month that these folks are now paying for the cheapest bronze plan available with a $12,000 deductible. So this is not some Cadillac plan. This is the cheapest plan available. This is a $12,000 deductible. And this is what these folks in Homer are paying. The ACA repeal bill that we're currently debating addresses the problem by reducing the penalty for not buying insurance, reduces it down to 0. Alaskans would be able to choose to buy insurance or simply to save the thousands of dollars that they'd be paying every month. That money could be spent on medical bills as needed, but would be available to the families to use as they see fit. Now, on top of the outrageous costs that we're seeing that come with the individual mandate, this Cadillac tax that I just mentioned hits Alaskans harder than anywhere else in the country. Primera is the largest insurer in our state, and they tell me that about 62% of their customers in Alaska will be forced to pay these tax penalties under the Cadillac tax in 2018, the first year of the tax. The average cost would be $420. That would be the tax on that plan that each would be paying that first year. But what we have in the state, it's not as if these plans are that grand. The problem is, with the high cost of health care within our state, the plans that we have to cover them really are just designed to make that coverage be there, but it's a tax that really penalizes Alaskans because our health care is more expensive in a rural and a very low population state. So this tax is going to hit the state. It will hit the boroughs, which are akin to our counties. It will hit our school districts. It will take money away from public education and other services that the states provide. And I'm hearing from school districts that are coming to me, and instead of saying, I'm concerned about testing or I'm concerned about some of the issues that we're dealing with back here, they're saying their number one concern is the implication of the Cadillac tax coming to them. The single greatest threat to quality public education. That's how Robert Boyle, he's the superintendent of the Ketchikan Gateway Borough School District, that's how Robert Boyle describes the ACA as the single greatest threat to quality public education. Bob's district faces a tax penalty of over $500,000 due to the Cadillac tax that will be coming up in 2018. That's the first year of the tax, and the penalties only increase from there. So you've got the Ketchikan Gateway Borough School District looking at a $500,000 tax coming due in 18. They're not getting more money to run their school district. This is money out the door that isn't improving the education of a single child in that district. We're facing a financial crisis in the state. The state cut the education budget this year, and they're looking hard at cutting it again next year. We're a state that relies on oil revenues. You see what's going on with the price of oil. That's an impact to us. We're feeling it, desperately feeling it. School districts cannot handle the imposition of hundreds of thousands of dollars in new taxes on top of a budget reduction. The money, as you and I know, would be far better spent paying teachers what they deserve. School districts are now looking to possibly reduce benefits for teachers in order to avoid paying the new tax. So with low pay, no benefits, how are our schools going to get ahead? How can we expect to attract and retain quality teachers? The answer is pretty real. We just can't do it. And without quality teachers, who suffers? It's going to be the kids. The bill that we're debating solves the problem for 6 years by delaying the Cadillac tax until 2024. That gives us here in Congress time to find a way to address it permanently and in a responsible way. And I'm one of those that has advocated, let's just eliminate this Cadillac tax altogether. But the problems of the ACA don't end with hundreds of thousands of dollars in new taxes on schools or charging individuals outrageous premiums. It also impacts our small businesses, and I've heard from so many business owners around the state who want to expand, but they say, I just can't do it. I can't do it. They cannot afford to both expand their business and then hit the 50-employee threshold at which they're required to provide the insurance. So at best, these businesses are kind of treading water right now. The ACA requires every business owned by an individual to be grouped together when counting employees. So I've heard from a fellow in my state. He's from Fairbanks. He owns several businesses there. It's a mix of businesses. One is a plumbing distribution company, but he also has a whole handful of little coffee shops. So quite a difference between the plumbing distribution and the coffee shops here. Now, for tax purposes, Mr. Vivlamore's businesses are all treated as separate entities. And for legal purposes, they're treated as separate entities. Makes sense. But for some reason, for purposes of health insurance, these are all lumped into one bucket. So he has his employees from the coffee shop, He's got his employees from the plumbing distribution business. So he's going to be required to provide health insurance when the mandate kicks in because he employs more than 50 people across all of his companies together, even though he doesn't have 50 employees in every one of his very, very different businesses. He's talked to me about what he's going to do, about the prospect of possibly downsizing because of cost of doing business under the ACA for him is just too high. Now, this issue is also resolved in the bill by reducing the penalty for noncompliance with the employer mandate to 0. Employers will once again be free to offer workers more hours, hire more staff, or expand operations without facing a large tax penalty for not offering insurance or an equally significant cost increase when they are forced to provide insurance. I've been down here before and I've asked the question before, but it's worth repeating. For whom is the Affordable Care Act actually affordable? It's certainly not the average hardworking Alaskan who are being forced to shell out thousands of dollars for their premiums each month. It's not affordable for the school districts and other state entities who will pay huge taxes. And it isn't affordable for the kids whose educations will potentially suffer. This law it's not affordable for us in Alaska. And that's why I support the bill that repeals the ACA and wipes out these harmful impacts. I simply we can't stand by and see these premiums shoot through the roof, 30% or more each year, see our businesses artificially constrained, and see the quality of public education decline. It just doesn't work. So with that, Madam President, I thank you for the time this morning and look forward to the opportunity this afternoon to weigh in on some of these very significant issues that have great and considerable impact on the people of Alaska. And with that, I yield the floor.